The Community Television Consortium of Stark County would like to take this time to thank Warner Cable for their continuous help in providing airtime and equipment to make this locally produced community program available to their viewing audience. And now your host, Richard Crable.
Good evening, I'm Dick Crable, and this is Reflections. My guests this evening are two officers from the Canton Police Department who are here to talk about DARE. And the officers are Officer Charlene Moore and Officer Ernie Skellern. How you guys doing this evening?
Fine.
Great.
Well, good. Really glad to have you. Ernie, this is your first time, isn't it?
Yes.
Well, Charlene's getting an old hat at this. Now, she's been on the show 2 or 3 different times. And starting out this evening, Charlene, tell the public, what does DARE stand for?
DARE stands for Drug Abuse Resistance Education. It started in Los Angeles, California back in 1983 with 10 officers as a pilot program to see how it would work in their schools. It went over so well that a lot of other communities wanted it also.
Now, I know you've been involved in it for a while. How many years?
Yes, this is my 6th year of doing this. I started teaching back in the fall of 1989, the 89-90 school year. It actually started before that, though.
I know I had the privilege one time of working with you at one of the schools, and I was very, very impressed with the whole program. I believe I was at Cedar School.
Yes, I think that was my first year also. You were involved with the graduation. It went over quite well.
Right.
Quite well. Actually, it started before that, though. We had 2 DARE officers, Dr. Patrolman Bachman, Richard Bachman, and Officer Greg Boudreaux, who's now a sergeant. They started it in 1989 in 8 schools as a pilot program, and it went over so well that now we have it in all of our schools. We now do 23 schools, 18 in Canton, 3 that are parochial schools, and 2 that are in plain local schools now.
That's interesting. Ernie, how long have you been on the block here? How long have you been...
Well, I've got quite a bit of time on the police department, but as far as being in the DARE unit, I have just about 2 years in.
Since you've been around the police department for quite a while, how do you like the DARE unit now?
It is a wonderful program. When I first got into the program, I thought maybe it wasn't something that I really wanted to do, but after about 2 or 3 visits to the schools, I realized it was something that I really, really wanted to do, and as a matter of fact, I had to sort of fight to keep the job.
Kids kind of get to you, don't they?
Yeah, it is. It makes a big difference to have these kids really interested in what you want to say. They're happy to see you when you come in the room, and it makes a big difference.
I know the first time that I was, in the public with Charlene at the school there, I was really amazed at how the kids take to the officers and how they'll ask questions, and they just, you make them feel like they're at home and vice versa. Ernie, are you a separate unit from the police department?
A separate unit in a sense, yes. We're under the Community Policing Bureau, you might say. That's headed up by Sergeant Gerald Wish, and we have other officers to work with us. It's the 3 DARE officers. There's 6 bike patrol officers. We also have 3 walking beat officers, and Jack Kreider, who is he's the junk vehicle officer, basically. When you see cars sitting in yards up on blocks and stuff like that, when they disappear, it's because of Jack Kreider.
So otherwise, what you're trying to say is he gets around town, so if you got junk cars, keep them out of Jack's way.
Yeah, basically that's it. That's it.
Where and when did this program actually start, the DARE program? It didn't start here in Stark County, did it?
No, it did not. It started in Los Angeles, California. The sheriff out there, Daryl Gates, went together with the Los Angeles Unified School District to try to develop a program to help kids get off drugs, because they had such a problem with kids on drugs out in California. They had such a major problem with gangs, and they wanted to develop a program that would teach kids not just about drugs but about consequences and things, and they developed a wonderful program. The educators came up with it and designed it, and that was in 1983, and it's been around since then.
And it just sort of moved its way from the Southern California area right up the states.
Actually, what happened was it went into the pilot programs. The other districts, the other school systems heard about it, other police departments heard about how wonderful it was and what a good job it was doing in the schools, and also the positive reaction with the kids with the police officers, which really was helpful because in a long range it's a deterrent. The kids think of you as their friend. They understand that we just do our jobs and we become friends and help one another. But it's now in all 50 states. It's also in the armed forces, and it's in several foreign countries as well. So it's not just here.
Isn't that's great. That is great.
Yes. How
long has this actually been in the city of Canton?
Since 1989, when it started with the other two officers who are, Bachman is also still trained, and so is Boudreaux, but because Boudreaux is now a sergeant, then he doesn't teach. But if we need him, I suppose we could. So we actually have 5 officers who are trained.
Did our friends from Massillon not follow you? That's true. They followed you over here as far as DARE is concerned, the DARE program. Starr County was first, and then or Canton was first, and Massillon. Did they follow behind you? Did they?
I think Jackson Township was first.
Yeah.
I think Jackson Township was first. Then we got it. Then Massillon, North Canton now has it. The Sheriff's Department now has an officer trained in it. Louisville has an officer trained in it. So it's all over. We also have Canal Fulton. So throughout Stark County, we have quite a few DARE officers. It's pretty nice.
Isn't that great?
Yeah, we get together every now and then and have a picnic and share how nice it is.
I have to mention a name because we have to mention Massillon because we do televise our program and run it over there. And I remember one outstanding gentleman that was a DARE officer. His name was Al Clymer.
It's now Officer Joe Herod, who is the instructor out there now. He's doing a wonderful job. We hear from a lot of the parents that are over there that the kids really just love him.
Al Herod?
I know his name is Joseph Herod.
Joseph Herod and then Al Clymer.
Yeah.
I will say hello to both of them, I'll tell you that, because those were nice people to talk to. The 5th graders get the core of the curriculum, correct? What do those lessons actually entail?
I'm going to let Ernie handle that.
There's a lot of different things we go over. One of the things I tell my classes, I like to tell them it's more than just a drug course, but actually a life skills course, because the things we tell them about self-esteem, about peer pressure. We know that when we leave our 5th graders, or excuse me, when our 5th graders leave us to go to middle schools and stuff like that, they're going to run with a different class of kids. And then when they move into high school, the class of kids will change again. And a lot of what they wear, the music they listen to, and everything else will depend on the peer pressure. So that's one of the things we talk about. Like I stated before, self-esteem, media. We tell them how the commercials and stuff will try to influence them in the things they do. Those are just some of them, but there's actually 17 separate lessons, and each one covers a different subject.
Do you find out that after the children move to an upper level that what percentage still follows the programs or the lessons they're taught? We've
never taken a survey, and from my understanding, I believe Ohio is in the process right now of actually taking a survey to see what effect it's having on the kids. But one of the reasons, my personal opinion is one of the reasons why we want to get into the middle school is not to leave them out there. I had a teacher tell me yesterday that her daughter, who went through the DARE program, was a little upset because she said DARE seemed to make it seem really easy to say no. At least she had the impression it was going to be really easy to say no, but she says once you get into middle school and high school, it's really pretty tough. And that's one of the reasons why we're looking to possibly get into the middle school and get into the high school to be there for them again.
The kids have to be strong today, and you as DARE officers have to be strong, because I read the papers and I see how easy it is within our area to get drugs.
It's very easy. They've been doing a really big write-up in the papers between the repository and the Beacon Journal on the different kinds of drugs and how easy it is for them to get it, and it is. The kids today have a lot more pressures and demands on it than what we had. It's not just the drugs, it's the gangs, it's getting into other acts of violence destruction just because they don't have a lot to do. And sometimes with the kids they hang out with, they have to learn how to make the decisions. And it's tough. It's very tough for some of the kids out there.
Yep. Charlene, if a kid or a parent would like to get a hold of you or Officer Skillen or another DARE officer, do you have a number that they can call?
Yes, we do. We have a separate line from the other units. It's 489-3375. And if we're not in the office, because obviously we're not there during the times that we're teaching, and if they want to get a hold of us, we have an answering machine that will take their calls. Just leave their name and number, and we'll return their call.
Well, that's good to know. We brought that up for a simple reason, because if there is a kid out there that wants to talk to you, I don't think that he should be backward. He should be able to call and have somebody return the call to them.
Yep.
And this is very important, and I know you both agree with me. We're going to take a break, and we'll be back in a few seconds here with Officer Charlene Moore and Officer Ernie Skillern. I'm Dick Crable, and we're back with Officer Charlene Moore and Officer Ernie Skillern. Before we took a break, we gave a phone number for the your DARE unit. And would you give that number one more time?
Sure. The number to get a hold of us is 489-3375.
What grades, basically, Ernie, do you reach?
Okay, we right now we're presently doing actual lesson plans in 1st, 3rd, and 5th. We also do visitations to preschool or kindergartners. The 1st and 3rd grade lessons are somewhat similar to the 5th grade core, but they don't get the same type of lesson plan. The 1st and 3rd, we're looking at like stranger safety, safe to taste and not safe to taste, basically things they should put in their mouths, things they should not put in their mouths, dealing with feelings. All the courses, all the lessons that they're getting is basically setting them up for the 5th grade classes. Like when we're talking about feelings, we're basically setting them up about self-esteem and peer pressure, those type of things. But of course, I said when they're that young, our main thing right there is stranger safety. Is the most important thing we deal with the 1st and 3rd.
Do you involve the parents in this?
We try to get them involved. It's important that they are involved, because we can teach them things in the school, but when they get home, if the parents don't sort of back us up on it, it's something that won't stay with the kids. It's important that the parents get involved with the kids. If they come home and the kids are excited about something they learned in DARE, talk about it with them. You know, see what they have to say, because it's important that they know that they have the same type of influence or the same type of I'm looking for the same type of positive outlook at home that they do that we give them. Yeah.
Right.
We want them to reinforce what we teach them. We don't want them to think that we're trying to keep anything from them. As a matter of fact, one of the things that we do at the end of the lessons is tell the kids, now go home and share your lesson with your parents, because it's important the parents know what they're learning. And if there's a handout, take it home so your parents can talk to you about it. And that way, it's because DARE isn't just police officers. It's the school, it's the parents, and the police working together. It's a triangle. It's the three working together to help one another to keep the kids off drugs.
Boy, that's great. Do you give them a lesson plan to take home? Now, kids get homework. God knows when I was in school back a few years ago, I had homework. Do you give these kids little lessons like to do in their spare time at home and bring them back to you?
Some of the grades get homework and they get to take it home and have their parents help them do it. And other ones, we give them handouts that they can take home and share with their parents. But the 5th graders' workbooks stay at the school. The reason is because they lose them. If we give them a workbook to have them in the classroom. They tell them, now you got homework, but you actually have to do it in class, because we had a problem with kids that would take the book home, lose it, leave it at school, little sister or brother scribbled all over it, the dog ate it, mom threw it away, and we can't afford to keep replacing these. Plus, that is something that we're taught when we go through the DARE training, that California recommends the books do not leave the classroom because of that reason, and that way the kids are always prepared. But if a parent wants to see the book, they can either go to the school or call us at the DARE office, and they can come down, go through the books. We can give them a copy of the book so they can check it out.
Wow. Ernie, who buys these books?
School system, and basically it's the police department too. There's
Attorney General.
Yeah, and not Fisher, but Betty Montgomery is the new. She will put the money in for the new batch of books. But
the Attorney General.
It comes from the Attorney General basically. They put up the money for a lot of the different things, but the school system puts money in that pays for other things that we give the kids. Because they get more than just the books. There's as we like to call them, trinkets that they get throughout the year.
Yeah.
So the money comes basically, the majority of money comes from the state, but there is money that's given by the school system.
See, I thought maybe that that the county or the state or somebody like that, community action people, might donate some money to you, or?
Well, we do accept donations when they are given. We don't go out and solicit for them.
Yeah.
They're welcome. We use them to buy the things for the kids: the pencils, the pens, the T-shirts. The money, any money that we get, is used for those type of things. We also have, there's a grant that was that through the Ohio Chiefs of Police?
Yes.
Was it through, that will help with getting another DARE officer trained, so that will help with his salary. But for the things for the kids, the school systems, any money that anybody wants to donate to it, plus what the police department gives, goes to buy all the extras, all the things that we can give the kids.
I know some of the rewards are pretty nice, because I even received a couple little rewards there for working with Charlene.
Yeah, we give the kids DARE Bears at the graduation. Yeah. For the kids who write a speech, they have to do that at the very, very end. They write a speech, and the one that is picked by their classmates to represent their class wins a DARE Bear, and it's kind of honor, because you can't buy these, it's for them. We give the kids rulers, something, we try to look for things that they can use during the school year. It's not just for DARE, but it reminds them of DARE because it's got it on it, but it's something that they can use too. There's a lot of neat things. Sometimes they get notebooks that are folders, and occasionally we'll even pick up things for the teachers, little special things that they donate a lot of their time. You know, they don't, the time that they give us is valuable. So that's kind of nice. Give us, thank you for letting us have your time.
I think that's great. I still have my DARE Bear. My wife took and put it right on the dresser at home.
That's been our first or second taping. It's been a while.
Right, it's been a few years ago.
Yeah.
What about the middle schools now? Are the middle schools getting DARE?
Not right now, not presently, but we are working on that. As a matter of fact, the three of us are going down to Columbus in March for the training, for the middle school training.
Good.
And we talked to the school board to try to see if they will let us get into the middle schools. We wanted to set it up as a pilot project just to get into one school. We were sort of running scared, because we said, well, you know, who's going to let us in?
Yep.
Well, I talked to the Dr. Downluck, and he told me that not only did they want it, every single school wanted it. So everybody wants the pilot project, but of course we can only do it in one school. So it looks like the middle school thing is going to go. When we get the training in, I guess we'll have to get into the middle schools, and I'm happy about that.
Yes.
That's great. How many more officers will you need for something like this?
At least one. I think two would probably work better, to be honest with you. But we're going to need at least one, because we have three right now that are actually trained or actually teaching, but we're going to have at least one and maybe two.
Is Steve still?
Yes,
still teaching?
yes, he's still teaching, Steve Silver. We all teach. We each teach 4 days a week each semester. We take 4 schools the first semester, all 3 of us, so that's 12 schools. And then second semester we each pick 4 schools, and then one officer has 3, but that other officer also goes back We have 3 really big schools that it's hard to get all the grades taught, so they go back and they teach the grades that they weren't able to teach during that extra day. So we're quite busy during the semesters.
Well, then right now there's yourself, then there's Ernie and
That's
Steve
it,
Silver.
and we hit all 23 schools throughout the semester, throughout the year.
We ended up with teaching about 1,500 students altogether, or something. You know, and we're only talking about like that's just the fifth graders. That doesn't count the first and third in our visitations.
Isn't that something? Well, who gets to drive the Cadillac? Come on, Ernie.
That's on a rotating basis.
Yeah.
It switches around. You start out with the Cadillac. You drive the Cadillac for a week, then you drive the
30.
We have a cruiser that's been changed into a dare vehicle, and then you have to get what's called a pool car for that third week. But we were just informed that there was another vehicle that's going to be changed into a dare vehicle. So we'll have a Camaro that we'll be adding to our little stable. So it'll go in there.
Well, the Sheriff's Department, I think they drive a Corvette, don't they?
Yes, they do.
Yes,
they do.
But the Cadillac, tell us about that Cadillac. How did we get that Cadillac?
Gosh, we've had that about 4 years now. It was actually confiscated from a drug dealer. It was where he was arrested, and the car was bought with drug money, and it was confiscated from him by the state. It's the way they work it. It was through the Vice Unit, and instead of selling it, they donated it to the police department. And actually, the paint job, the lettering, everything on it was donated by different companies throughout the city as far as taking care of it. So there was no cost, actually, to the city for the car.
That's great. You know, Charlene's the first person that I saw drive that car, don't you? What about your training and your retraining for officers?
Your initial training is a 2-week training period. You'll usually go down to Columbus. I did my training in Michigan though, because the Ohio school was filled. But you have to go to a retrainer. Usually go at least once a year. Stay up on everything. Also, there's lots of times when they change the curriculum or change the lessons, you have to go to a retrainer. We've all just recently come from a retrainer because the curriculum had changed. And like I said, now we're going to the middle school training also. So every time, I would say probably once a year or so, there's something happening that you have to go to a retrainer to make sure that you stay up on what the lesson plans of the curriculum is.
Do you find that it takes a certain type of person to get involved in the DARE program?
Yeah.
Yes, most definitely. You have to care about these kids. It requires a lot more work than what people think it does. We're like a teacher and we're a police officer. So you don't just leave your job at work. When you go home, there's papers to grade, just like with a teacher. We grade tests at night. We do, sometimes we take the workbooks back, but it's not just that. There's a lot more. You have to really want to be with these kids and work with them because you become close to them. And sometimes it's very hard because, you know, when the kids graduate and they go on, you miss some of the kids or you wonder how they're doing because you know they were struggling and having a tough time, and you become very concerned about these kids, and you care. You can't help it. Your heart gets stolen by these kids. And you just have to love to do it and just do all these extra things because you want to, and you don't feel...
You know, my personal opinion is that it really changes your image as policemen.
Yes. Yes, I think that's one of the reasons that they did it the way they did it. It's not saying that someone else could not teach the DARE program. However, we have access to a lot more information than they do. Plus, a lot of times the kids want to ask questions to police officers and they don't have a chance any other time. We have what's called the DARE box. And this box is where the kids put questions into this box, and they can ask us things about the job, about a drug, about the program, about our families even. They get a chance to see we're humans. We're people, just like everyone else is, and that we're not someone that is unreachable. And they find out that we have feelings just like other people do, and we hurt just like other people do, and we care just like other people do. It's kind of nice.
Not to get off the track of DARE, but I think that the city of Canton has done a couple outstanding things in the past few years, such as your community policing.
Yes. Yes.
It's really an important program right now, and it started out, actually started quite a while ago, even with Mayor Persis. He was the one that the first time I'd heard anything about community policing. It didn't actually go into full effect until Mayor Watkins, but now it's sort of rolling, and actually it's growing because they're getting a lot of compliments.
Positive feedback.
Yeah, a lot of positive feedback from the workers downtown, from businessmen downtown, to the fact that I believe the walking beat and the bicycle beat is going to increase by 1 officer to the walking beat and 2 officers to the bicycle patrol. So it's going really good.
Well, I think it's good because, you know, in my position with the community, I do have a chance to talk to the officers on the walking beat and also the bicycle patrolmen. And by talking to them, I'd love to have them on the show sometime. I really would if things could, you know, if things could work out, and it might take some doing. But I've had a chance to talk to patrolmen from both, you know, which is, I think, is great in the K-9 unit. But I think Canton, Ohio is doing so much right now for the kids, and that's what's so important. And I know that you and Charlene are in there just doing the best you can do, you know, with the program. Have you had a chance, either of you, to talk to many of the parents about their kids in the program?
I've had parents approach me afterwards that you didn't know. I found that a lot of the teachers, surprisingly enough, I may have their child at another school, and maybe if I end up going to their school, they'll approach me and say, "Well, Officer Skiller, you know, my daughter or my son was talking about you," and they say that they really liked the program. It was really an important part of their lives and stuff like that. And it is important. You sometimes you may think to yourself, well, you know, why am I doing this? But I know Officer Silver showed me something that makes you realize that it's really worthwhile. A child, or excuse me, one of the students had put in the dare box a slip of paper that said, "Thank you for changing my life." And you know, when you think to yourself, you know, boy, am I really doing anything? And then you reach in that box and pull out something like that, and you see where he says, "Thank you for changing my life." It really makes an impact, and it makes you realize, you know, I am getting through to some of these kids, so it's important.
When I first started the first semester, I got a note in my dare box from a student that said, "I hate policemen, period. I hate policemen," and that's all it said. And I explained to him, well, that's fine, that's your opinion, you're allowed to feel those things, and it's okay. Maybe you've never had anything positive from a police officer. Hopefully we can change your attitude. Halfway through the semester, I got one of those notes. "I really like police officers, you're pretty neat people." And that just made me know, and made me feel really good. But we don't have a whole lot with parents, other than maybe at our parent meetings or maybe at graduations, where a parent will come up and say, "Thank you, you've really helped my child. It opened up a lot of lines of communication. Now I know that, now they know they can come to me and ask questions." So more than anything, at least we know that it's opening the lines of communication between the parents and the kids.
I would like to say, though, that if there is a parent out there and I have their student, they're welcome in my classes at any time. That does not have to be prearranged or anything. If they want to come, contact the school. They have a schedule of all my classes, and they can stop in any time they want.
Yep.
Well, you know, we're out of time. Okay. And it's been so nice having you on the program again, Charlene.
It's been nice.
Ernie, welcome to the show. You did a wonderful job. And again, this is Dick Crable, and I want to thank you for watching Reflections.
The Community Television Consortium of Stark County would like to take this time to thank Massillon Cable and Massillon Washington High School for their continuous help in providing airtime and equipment to make this locally produced community program available to their viewing audience.